welcome back to Elevator Pitch for another new, fascinating, enticing episode. I am Hazel.
I am Altair.
Thank you. And we are once more dissecting a film as part of our comfort films this month. That's our theme for this month, comfort films. And if you haven't listened to our podcast before, what we generally tend to do here is that we pick a film that the other hasn't seen yet, then we watch it together, take some notes, and then I will today be presenting a pitch, like a quick one-liner, logline, and 5 reasons why you should like this film, and then we'll just go through the plot and talk about it. Yep. Yeah. So my choice for comfort film this month was Pride.
Yeah.
2014 film. It's very gay.
Isn't
everything gay if you really look for it?
Yeah.
I saw this the first time I think a few years back, and it's one of those films for me where it's just like it's so, I don't know, like it's really well, you'll find out what it's about, but I think it's really sweet in the story it tells, the show of solidarity that these two communities form. It's based on a true story, so that's even nicer. I think it's just heartwarming, and it deals with like certain difficult topics, but not to an extent that makes you feel depressed after. So so this is a film that I love going back to again and again, and I never really get tired of it.
Nice.
What
I hadn't seen that film. I hadn't heard of that film. So yeah, thanks for expanding my gay film horizons.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
Yeah.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I really did.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll
get to it.
Yeah.
As we
I
talk.
mean, I find it difficult to find. There's one structural, like, storytelling aspect that I want to talk about. I don't know what you thought. We'll get to it, but other than that, I don't have that much bad to say about this film. Really,
me neither. I think. So this is pointless. This episode.
Yeah. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? Let's just do the ratings, and that'll be the end of it.
It's like a 10-minute episode.
The shortest episode to date.
Yeah. Let's go.
So, my pitch. I also kind of found it difficult to come up with like a funny, I don't know, logline for this. But anyway, so my pitch anyway for this film is: a gaggle of gays and lesbians make history as they form allies in Wales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you know, like Wales the country, not
Yeah.
the animal.
For a moment, I was like, in Wales?
Wales?
I don't remember it.
How does that?
Wales.
I don't remember. Were they by the seaside? I don't remember that.
It was like, no, the country.
The country, Wales.
Because there's no difference in pronunciation, right? It's the same
No,
pronunciation.
it's just the spelling.
The
is
spelling,
different.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, because sometimes there are words in English and as a foreign,
Yeah.
like you don't really hear the difference in pronunciation.
Yeah. No,
but this is not one of those.
no.
Okay.
They Wales and Wales
Like
sound
I
exactly
always,
the same.
like I always remember, like it is because of you that I now know that there's a difference in course and curse.
Oh,
Like
okay,
I used to
yeah.
pronounce both words the same.
Uh-huh.
And it was because of you that I became aware, like, no, you pronounce them differently.
It's curse and course, you idiot.
So now I'm always like double checking.
But like which but like there's several also. It's not there's just two. I mean, you have curse,
Yeah.
and then you have course,
Yeah.
and you have cuz,
No, but
like because.
Yeah, but I hear the difference in cause. Like it's not the same to say, I came late because there was something in the U-Bahn.
Yeah.
Like I can hear that that's pronounced different than course and curse.
Yeah.
But before you pointed it out,
Yeah.
in a very humiliating way. No, I'm kidding. So it was
I literally stood up in front of everyone on the U-Bahn and went, Look at this person.
Look at this filthy immigrants. That's why we
She
don't
can't
want you
even
here.
speak proper English. in Berlin. Oh boy.
No, but because I think it's because, for example, like
This has just turned into linguistics
Yeah.
class now.
yeah, maybe we should just give the
No, yeah, just yeah. Well,
yeah, really quickly. For example, like usually o u, right?
yeah,
That combination sometimes it sounds like an u,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And for us in Spanish, that's the sound that also the u
yeah.
makes. So for me,
Uh-huh.
o u sounded exactly like
Cool.
u.
Okay.
So for me, it was like, yeah, I'm going to take an English course,
Curse.
and I want to throw a curse on you, you know. But
yeah. I see.
and I always remember the example that you that you gave me. It was like, is it a course or a curse? Because you can say this course is a curse.
Oh man, I do not remember that, but yeah, that sounds like something I would say.
Yeah, so now I
Of course, it's a curse, guys. Yeah.
Okay,
English can be tricky sometimes.
definitely
Not just German.
No, exactly. Okay, so
Yeah,
let's move
yeah.
on. Let's continue. Let's go
So
back.
let's
to the
go
film.
back to the film that we came here to talk about. No, yeah. So I've written down 5 reasons why you should like Pride. The first one, what I really love about it is that it's very British. Like it's very like in its just obviously the history that it depicts is very like British history. You have the humor that's very British. You have a lot of British actors in it, like quite big name actors. So
the Harry Potter lady is there.
Yeah, Imelda Staunton. Yeah, Umbridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. For a long time, that's all I knew her as was just Umbridge. Actually, her and Bill Nye has been in Harry Potter as well, very briefly, but he was.
Who is the other?
He's the older guy who comes out.
Okay, yeah, exactly. I remember him. I knew I had seen him somewhere else, but I didn't pinpoint that it was also Harry Potter.
Yeah. So that's it's very British, so I love that. Second reason is it tells this previously very little known part of history that a lot of people did. Like I didn't know about it, and it's quite. I don't know if I should already talk about the history of it, if that's a spoiler. Because the basic premise of this film is, and what actually happened is that this small group of gays and lesbians formed together to raise money for striking coal miners in the 80s, and then they formed the Solidarity, and then it did eventually, along the line, help gay rights because the miners pushed gay rights to be included in the Labour Party's manifesto, so it did have a big political impact. So that was something I hadn't known about, so I'm glad that's out there and the story's being told. And that kind of veers into my third reason, which is it's kind of this very beautiful, I guess, ode to solidarity, that these two completely different groups of people could find some common ground amongst each other, even if there was maybe some prejudice or conflict initially. They found some common ground. And my fourth reason, I actually have 6 reasons. I wrote 6 reasons down. So
fair enough.
Well, to be fair, like one of them is just it's a feel-good film, so that's not really
that's
not why we're
really
here
a
for.
reason.
Let's strike that. So my fourth reason is I think it balances the story and the characters well with sort of the politics of the time, and also like I guess the critiques of the politics of the time, of the government and what was going on and how people were being treated, but you still had well developed characters and relationships and a good story that was well structured that you can follow along with. That wasn't too heavy either. And my final reason is that it evokes the 80s very well, and I guess you have that nostalgia if you lived through that, or if not, I guess. I think like when I watched it once with my mum, and she also felt like it was actually quite. Although she did point out to me there was one mistake that they made, or 2 actually, that were probably historically inaccurate.
Okay.
One was like the dance scene where Dominic West dances. just before that they play Karma Chameleon.
Uh-huh.
And this film is set in 1984, and I think she pointed out to me that song didn't come out until I think 86.
Ah, okay, okay.
Just as an info.
Yeah, okay. No, but it's
There's a little
interesting. Yeah.
And then I guess it was kind of as a joke, but like when the old lady asks the lesbians, "Are you vegetarians?" and they say actually we're vegans. I don't think vegans were a thing in the 80s.
That was something that I was gonna mention yesterday, but we were very ironically eating McDonald's.
A very meaty based diet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was too busy eating my burger.
Just chowing it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask you, like, were vegans a thing?
Yeah, like even the first time round when I watched it, I was like, I don't think vegans were a thing in the 80s.
Yeah.
I think you barely had vegetarians back then. So.
Yeah.
And I think I think my mum also made that comment. So
Yeah, because
I think that was just a joke, like on part of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but it did stand out to me. Were they vegans in the 80s?
Was
Really?
vegans a thing
Oh,
in the 80s?
Yeah, but well, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so those are my reasons.
awesome. Yeah, no, I think it's a really yeah, it's a nice thing. I wish I had seen a little bit more of the hot priest.
Yeah. So, if this isn't enough enticement to watch this film, Hot Priest is in this film as
Hot
well.
priest. If you haven't seen Fleabag, there's
Yeah.
this actor. And then the second
Andrew
season,
Scott, I think his name is.
Yeah, I only know him as Hot Priest.
Hot Priest or Gay Moriarty.
Yeah.
Because Sherlock is gay.
Exactly. No matter what he says.
The Benedict Cumberbatch one is gay as fuck. I'm just saying that. I told you. Everyone knows it, even if the showrunners don't want to admit it. It's gay.
They're gay. But well, in Fleabag and the second season, there's like this actor plays this priest, and people just call him Hot Priest.
Yeah, it just became a thing, didn't it?
Yeah. So I thought they were gonna go maybe because that's one of the I think him and the guy playing his partner,
Dominic West.
Yeah, they're like the only two actors that I know. And
that
well,
you've seen
and exactly, and Harry
Umbridge.
Potter girl. So the rest I don't really know.
Okay.
So I thought, they're gonna center the story a little bit more on them, but it wasn't like a problem. It was like,
No.
okay.
That's the other thing. I think it's like a good ensemble piece.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like you have. I mean, obviously you have the fictional character Joe, who's like, along with us, the audience, he's like the entry into this group, I guess. And then you also have the character of Mark Ashton, who was based on he was a real person.
Okay.
Who was the leader of the group,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's but you still like this good ensemble piece. It's not like the focus isn't placed on any one character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good.
So
should
let's
we-
begin.
Yeah.
So so it's 1984. The miners are
Not the
striking.
book. The
yeah,
year.
yeah, that's true. It's not the book. It's the year. It's the year 1984. We're in London.
Yeah, because it's in London, so you can have people confused.
Yeah.
Thinking that we're talking about the book.
That's
No.
true. It's
No,
true.
no.
And the miners are striking, and we meet Mark Ashton, who's like watching the news, and he was an activist. And so he realizes, like, he's watching the news coverage of it, and he realizes part of the reason why they started this was because they realized that they had common enemies with the miners, which was Thatcher's government and the police and the press. So he realized we could form this alliance together and support them. Sorry. That was me trying to get into a better position. So then he leaves, and it's Pride Day as well. It's the 29th of June. So he goes and like gets some buckets, and then we also meet Joe, who's a fictional character who's just celebrated his 20th birthday, but then you also see him looking at the clock because he wants to go down to London to Pride, and he's obviously not out to his family yet. That becomes one of the conflicts. And then he goes down, and you have like people marching in the streets, and Joe accidentally becomes part of the march, And then Mark comes along and says we should start collecting this money, explains his motivations. That's what they do. And so at the end of the night, they come together and form the group, because I think they collected like £200
Yeah.
or something.
I don't know how much that was back then.
I guess
But
it would
didn't
stretch
sound
further.
like a lot. Like nowadays, is it a lot, £200?
Well, no, it isn't. No,
Yeah.
that's why I was thinking it probably stretched further in 1984 than it would today. Because I think even like the final fundraiser that they do, I think it's like a couple of thousand, which today wouldn't go very far.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably in the 30 years ago, you know, when wages were decent.
Yeah.
People actually worked, had good jobs. So they come together as a group. They form LGSM, which is Lesbian and Gay Support the Minors, and then the next hurdle they have to overcome is trying to actually get the minors to accept their money, because obviously it seems like
the minors didn't want the gay money.
No, they didn't want they didn't want the gays, and they didn't want the lesbians. But eventually they managed to contact like this little mining community in Wales. So they meet one of the miners there, like one of the Welsh miners, and he's obviously very surprised.
Yeah, I really like that scene, because I think it's built really, really well. Because it's like, okay, you have like this sequences in which like it's basically people rejecting their money.
Yeah.
And they finally get someone to take it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
yeah, we did it.
And then they meet this person. It's like, hi, nice to meet you. So what does
LGSM stand for?
And I was like,
oh no.
So I think it was like a really nice. I really liked how they built that. I guess it's like a punchline in a way.
Yeah.
So I think it was like quite funny that bit. And then and I thought maybe this person is not gonna take their money either. But the guy is like really open minded, I guess.
Yeah.
And he or desperate.
Yeah, like I can't afford to turn down the gays. yeah.
And so he takes the money.
Yeah, he's like, they all sit down and it's like, oh, I've never met gays before, and they obviously point out it's like, well, that you know of.
Exactly, that was also funny.
And then he's like, please tell your community how grateful we are. And so Mark has the idea of taking him to a drag club, a gay bar, like a drag show, where Di, his name is, the minor, he goes up and makes this very lovely speech about thanking them for standing with them at the moment. And so then they get invited down to the village as part of every other support group that's been raising money for them, and there's a lot of controversy around this, because there's one character who's very homophobic, who does not want them showing up, but they all still decide anyway. They outvote her, and so then they come down, and they have like a lot of this. They have a lot of scenes in this hall where they obviously all the miners in the community, they would get together there and keep the morale up and have drinks and stuff. So they're doing that at the moment when they arrive, and then they have to they show up, and Mark has to do this speech, which, oh god, I normally always skip over that because I'm like, oh god, this is so awkward.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a little bit like it was going to be treated a little bit more like the one that the minor gave at the bar. I thought it was going to be surprisingly good, but it wasn't.
No. It goes down very badly.
But I guess it's more realistic that way.
Yeah. So he makes speech doesn't go down that well. And I think this is where the dance sequence, or is that later?
I think a little bit later, because I think he comes down.
Yeah, that's right. Because then they stay over then they cut to them all sleeping on the floor at Di's house. That's right. and they're all they're all a bit unnerved. So like some of them want to leave because they're like, shit, we're gonna get beat up or something, you know. The others argue against that and say, we're not leaving, we're not gonna hide who we are, like we came as LGSM. And then they, I guess, start to bond with some of the people as they go for a walk on the hillside, and they explain also, and this is I think this is like a great moment where I get, because it highlights like the police harassment that the gay community faced a lot in the 80s, because they're basically the miners are basically talking about how some of these miners have just been arrested by the police on for no reason basically. And you know, Dominic West's character kind of chimes in and says, well, they can't do that, and the fact that they're obviously more used to this and therefore more aware of the rights that your rights that you have, and what reason a policeman can actually arrest you for. Then one of the female characters goes down to the police station and says, you have no right to arrest them, to hold them. You need proper grounds to arrest them.
And I think they got him loose.
Yeah, because then that's the next scene, because then you have the scene where they come in again into the hall and they're just congratulating the two guys who got out. And then that's the guy who invites them for a drink.
Yeah, I thought that was also quite smart, like that scene and I think the two next scenes, because I think I think they're separated at the beginning, and then the female character says like, hey, why don't you go and greet them and whatever. It's like, well, I don't owe them anything. They were the ones who told me how to get you out of jail. So this guy goes and kind of like shakes his hand. It's like, I'll buy you a pint.
Yeah.
And then I think, I don't know if that's exactly the moment, but then we cut to the kitchen. And I think it's
a little bit later, yeah.
Yeah, and the Harry Potter lady, I think she's arguing with the homophobic bitch. That's how I know this character.
Yeah, exactly.
And she tells them that everyone's there.
Everyone's taking some of them in because obviously they have nowhere to stay otherwise.
Exactly. So they're being nice. Everyone's getting alone, and the homophobic bitch is like, "Oh, really?" And then because I thought, okay, so that's gonna bring them together. I really thought that the guy buying the pint was like, that's the symbol that they're are starting to accept them.
Yeah.
And then you caught, and this woman said, really, are they getting along? And then they show that no, the minors are with the minors.
Yeah, they're with the minors on one side of the room together, and then the gays
and the women are
in
yeah. Because women and gays, we just get along.
We relate.
And I thought that was quite clever how it's not that, it wasn't that fast that they actually...
it's not, but I also think it's good in a way, because it's not like there's no outright hostility now, but it's still like we're gonna segregate.
Exactly.
So then she goes up to one of them and say, like, get yourself a gay and mingle and talk to them. And then and I think this is where Dominic West has his dance.
Yep.
So like all the men are sitting at the tables and all the women are like dancing at the front, and then and I think one of them comments like, oh yeah, my husband can't dance or something, so I can't really dance with him. And so Dominic West gets the idea of putting on a good track and doing this whole dance routine and dancing with the ladies. And some of the other men, some of the other miners, realize that dancing is an aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
It's like a good way to get women. So that's another step, I guess, like within the plot of them gradually accepting them, that they like I say, one of the miners asks Dominic West to help him learn to dance. I guess the next bit is like the homophobic bitch,
It's a homophobic.
No, because like they go back to London at one point,
Mhm,
and then they
mhm.
go back because then Hot Priest comes along.
Yep.
Because he's Welsh and he hasn't been back to Wales for ages.
Yeah, I think they call him. That's how I don't know if they invite him because of that, but I know that they're calling them to kind of like thank them and
Christmas. Yes, that's
yeah,
right.
exactly. And Harry
For the
Potter
card,
lady
yeah.
like calls Dominic's
Mm-hmm.
character, and the hot priest answers.
I hope people can keep up with this. Like Dominic and Hot Priest and Harry Potter woman and it's very complex. Very complex. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
I'm very bad with characters' names. I'm so sorry.
I guess that's the way to keep people on track. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah. So they
they go back to London.
Yeah, for Christmas.
For Christmas, and then Harry Potter lady calls Dominic's character.
Yeah.
And
But Hot Priest picks up because they're boyfriends, so
Yeah.
they live together.
And so she says something like calls to say Merry Christmas and to thank them and blah blah blah, and she sends his accent.
Yeah.
And she's like, is that a Welsh? I'm not gonna even try to do a Welsh accent. I don't know that.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna keep it neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that a Welsh accent I can hear?
I can hear and then they start. I think she tells him something in Welsh.
I'm guessing it's Merry Christmas in Welsh,
Okay,
probably.
and he
says it back, and you can see he's quite
touched
because he hasn't been back to Wales in 16 years because he hasn't talked to his mum since. Yeah. And so they go back a second time. I guess that's the second time is then when we have the dance number, I guess. Right?
No, but Hot Priest wasn't there in the
That's true. Oh my god, this is
dance.
getting really messy. No, yeah, you're right. Yes, because so they're talking about the coal fields, and then Mark makes a speech saying we haven't done enough for you, we haven't raised enough money. When we get back to London, we're going to do something so spectacular, and they all cheer, and then this woman starts singing. It's really, really beautiful moment.
What do you know what they sing? Is it
I'm guessing some folk song, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a really beautiful moment. It makes me cry so much every time. Yeah,
and
then they go back to someone's house because they keep hanging out at people's houses.
Yeah, but you mean still in Welsh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
in Wales. Sorry, in Wales.
In Wales. Yeah, because that's when Hot Priest says to Harry Potter lady.
Yeah.
Like he explains why he hasn't been back because he hasn't talked to his mum, and she says, well, have you spoken to her in 16 years? And then that obviously gets him to take the trip to visit her, and it seems like they
come again, come together.
Yeah, exactly. They bond again. And
I think it's because I know they say that they're gonna do something very spectacular. I don't know if it is then the homophobic bitch talks to the press.
Yeah, exactly. That's
what motivates.
Because her and her sons are really against this the whole time, and they want them out. And then she comes up with the idea because the press is obviously talking shit about them all the time. So she then goes to the press and tells them that this group is helping them, with the headline something
Bits
like
and perps, something
perverts.
Like
Something with perverts.
Yeah.
So, but then this kind of twofold because on the one hand it gives them the idea for this fundraising event because Mark Ashton explains to Joe's character that in the gay community when you have some word like some slur thrown at you, you take it and you own it, and that's how they got the idea for Pits and Perverts, which was this fundraising event that they did. But then at the same time, this kind of bad publicity leads the miners to have a vote on whether to still accept their money because they're embarrassed. And then in the meantime, they're organising the fundraiser, and all the ladies come down to London as well. And I'm trying to think of everything that happens now.
I mean, Mark calls the press so that to let
Some
them
of the
know.
press, yeah.
So to let them know about the event, and that not only it's not a matter of gay or straight, that everyone is there to help the minors.
Yeah.
I really like the bit where they go to like a record label.
Oh,
and
yeah,
and
that seems really good, isn't
and
it?
like the secretary says like, we don't have any gay artists in our label. It doesn't matter if they're gay or not.
Straight,
And then
that's the point.
she just dismisses them.
Yeah.
And then they put like the number. They write the number on one of the walls. And when they cut to a wider shot, it's like behind,
it's
underneath, you know.
Yeah.
An Elton John poster.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
It's quite funny.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then I think the concert happens.
Yep. Yeah. So they have like a concert kind of fundraiser. Loads of people come. You have Joe, who's kind of really grown in confidence. Like he's become their photographer, and he also kind of.
I guess they let you kind of make you believe that he has his first gay experience.
I guess. Yeah, because like he makes out with a guy.
Exactly.
At the fundraiser. I don't know if it goes any further than that. We're not saying.
I will not get it. I'm kidding.
Yeah. And then after that, they go out for the night as well. They keep going out for the night with the other women, go to some gay bars, gay clubs, and dance. And and then this is kind of like a pivotal scene, really, because at the same time you have obviously AIDS going on in the background, and Mark bumps into, I guess, this old fling or ex-boyfriend who obviously it's insinuated has AIDS.
Yeah.
And this is the point where I start to lose Mark as a character.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess he does turn.
Yeah, this is the thing. So, I guess we'll get to it, but obviously at the end of Act 2, as we know as great filmmakers,
as masters and filmmakers,
we can pinpoint this. You always have the crisis at because they get back to they have this vote, and on their way back to Wales to try and defend themselves and try and say why they should still be allowed to support the miners, the time gets moved, so they get there too late and they're rejected basically and told, we don't want your support anymore, even though they've collected all this money. And then when they get back to London again, then Mark kind of abandons them. He's seen like he gets angry and says like, leave me alone, it's over. And this is the point that I don't like. The film slightly loses me because Mark is such a pivotal character in the film, and he just disappears for most of Act 3.
Yep.
I don't really understand why he flips out like he does.
Yeah, I guess it's because it's a combination, I guess, of this miners done appreciating the effort that he's been doing, and on top of that, I don't know if by then he was already fearing that he might also have
this
AIDS,
is the thing,
or he's just that upset because his former lover because what I understood from that interaction with him and the former lover was that he said like, I'm on a farewell tour, so what I understood he's dying, so I thought maybe that affected him so much, like no matter what I do, there are still things that are out of my control, so what should I bother, so I better piss off. So that's how I interpreted it. Yeah,
that's the thing, I can't work out, because obviously tragically the real Mark Ashton did die of AIDS eventually, and I don't know whether it's insinuating that, because there's a moment where he looks at this poster saying, have you got tested, and I don't know whether it's meant to insinuate that he was worried that he had it, so he went to get tested, and then by the time he bumps into Joe again and confronts him, he knows that he has it. That's his HIV positive. I just find it very odd how he just disappears, and you don't see him in between at all.
Yeah.
You don't, and then at the end of it, he just comes back and he's like, "Oh, hey, I want to be."
Yeah, I also noticed that he's like all of a sudden here.
Yeah, and they make up, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was like maybe like a deleted scene somewhere. It's just odd that there was no bit where we saw Mark to give us an understanding of why he left, and then what makes him come back at the end.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've always. I've watched this film several times now, and I still don't really get it.
Yeah. Like for me, like I maybe understand a little bit more why he would leave, but why he would come back, why he comes back, I don't know why. Like it's like all of a sudden, like, hey, here I am. Oh yeah, you were the protagonist up until a few pages ago. So yeah, we'll take you back.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
I just I understand maybe things getting on top of him and him being disillusioned and leaving, but I would have liked a scene where you see him change his mind again and thinking, oh, I have to get back to them. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's one of the only flaws I can find in this film at the moment.
Yeah.
Just makes me wonder what happened there. But yeah, so basically the group sort of disbands, and Joe, in the meantime, he doesn't really know about any of this, because like he goes home, and in the meantime his family have discovered all these articles and photos of the group, so they know. So now they know that he's gay,
which they should have known.
Oh, they should, please.
Because the first clue is he was in a pastry course.
And as we know, pastry is famously gay.
Like,
it is homosexual.
Like in the 80s, wouldn't have you thought that, oh, my son is into pastry? That's suspicious.
Who does pastry?
Maybe this is coming from my very macho culture. You have to forgive me. I come from a very macho culture. I'm trying to cleanse myself from these macho stereotypes. But it's like,
come on, guys. Come on.
That's
Look
on you.
at him.
That's
Look
on
at
you.
it. I know.
You were just in denial.
Oh. I know. It's like, I mean, it's the same question we ask ourselves about George Michael.
Exactly. Come on.
How did no one see that coming?
How didn't you
see
that George Michael was gay?
Elton John. Really? You didn't see that coming? Come on. World.
Exactly. So, but well, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. His family discovers that he's gay.
Yeah. So he... And also in the meantime, because he hasn't been going to his classes, he's been thrown out of school as well, which he didn't tell them. So he's kind of, I guess, under house arrest is how he describes it. You know, they keep him at home. And then also Hot Priest, who gets upset that they're not allowed to collect money anymore, goes out on his own, which is against their rules. Yeah. And gets beat up for it, and then the one not the one lesbian character, but the main lesbian character, Steph, comes to try and visit Joe, and his mum kind of lies to her and lies to him and keeps them apart, so Joe still doesn't know what's going on. Yes, that's right. And then we come to the end of the strike. And the government has won, and the miners have to go back to work. And seeing that on the news, Joe goes back to Wales to see them, and he runs into Mark, who tells him, you need to stop running away and hiding, and you need to be proud of who you are. And so that leads to when he gets back to London. No, then Sean, one of the characters, takes him to the hospital because he didn't know that Hot Priest had been beaten up and is now in a hospital. And then we we also find out Dominic West is HIV positive, and he was based on a real life person who was actually
The second person.
something
to
like
be
that. One of the
diagnosed.
first people to be diagnosed in the UK, and he's still alive,
Yeah.
miraculously. Yeah, and then Sean eventually takes him home, where they're celebrating his. I think it's his nephew's christening.
Something like
So
that.
the whole family and neighbours and friends are there, and they show up with the van that has like lesbian gays, put the minors on it.
Mhm.
So they're obviously really embarrassed, but he's already made his mind up, and he said, like, I'm leaving.
Mhm.
I hope we can be friends
again, Mom.
I know, it's such a hammering moment. Although I still always laugh at the line where he like goes to his brother-in-law and it's like, you know what, Jeff, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Susie, that perm doesn't suit you. It
Exactly.
never has.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he lets it rip, and then he leaves, and meets up with Steph, the lesbian. And that's not how I want to define her character, but within the context of this film, just so we know,
She's the one lesbian.
she's the one main lesbian.
Yeah, that's one of my. I guess it's not a problem, but it is like, okay, it's
Where are the lesbians?
Where are the lesbians? Because
it's
they have like 2 more lesbians, but it's not like they play any big role. Like one of them tells us that she's a vegan.
They're like a lesbian couple, and they're both vegan.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, and then they end up splitting off into their own group.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, so we're
the lesbians.
We are the lesbians.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So he stays with her, and then I think it's Pride Day. I think.
Yeah,
and we're
again.
like at the end, and we managed to get through this plot.
Yeah.
So and then it's 1985. It's Pride Day, and they're all making banners and things, and I don't know. Yeah, banners.
Yeah.
I was gonna say placata, but that's
yeah.
No, so banners, and then, like we said, then suddenly Mark shows up outside and makes up with them, and all is good in the world.
Yeah.
And so and then they're about to start, and they're initially told that that Pride's not supposed to be political this year, which is ridiculous, but anyway. And so they'd have to march at the back, but then all of a sudden these buses show up, and they're told, no, you have to be at the front, because it turns out all the miners are now come now to support them. And so that's what they do. They kind of lead the Pride Parade, and and then you get a bit of info on all the real life people.
Yep.
And there we are.
And it closes with what you already mentioned, that at some point, like, there were some like they approved some gay rights in the parliament. I don't remember exactly what it was.
So the
that was like a very general.
They approved gay rights. No, it was
I just didn't remember.
Boy. No. I'll explain it. No, it was so basically the Labour Party was tried a couple of times. They voted on whether to put gay rights into their party manifesto.
Oh, okay.
And it got, I don't know if they voted on it 1 or 2 times, and it got rejected.
Yeah.
But then this time they tried it again, and this time it passed, mainly because of the miners, like the work miners union, because they were fully supportive. So that was part of why gay rights was sort of part on the political agenda then after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining. Yeah,
Clearing that up. Some they approved gay rights. You know, it was all good after that. No, but yeah, like having a mainstream, one of the biggest parties supporting gay rights then basically.
Yeah.
So that was a big win.
Yeah, that was like I never thought that. Yeah, for me it was surprising that they would show that kind of solidarity because like I would have okay, they went to the march. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. But the fact that they even like gave them political power, I thought was
showed them political
quite
support.
sweet.
Yeah. That's why it's a really great story, and I really love this film. It's like beautiful. Check it out. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh God, I feel that was such a garbled mess.
Do you think so? I didn't think so. I mean, I think the mess was a reference to the characters: Harry Potter lady, hot priest, Dominic.
Yeah, pretty.
Gay pastry
lesbian.
The lesbian.
The lesbian. yeah. That's one of the difficult parts in this podcast. Sometimes is trying to let you, the listeners, understand, keep track of who the characters are.
Yeah. Hopefully, if you've seen the film, and if you haven't, you will.
Yes, please.
So that you can understand who Harry Potter lady is, and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. So I guess. Oh God, I haven't thought about
what should be.
Yeah. What comes up? Like I don't know.
Buckets.
Buckets.
Yeah.
I guess charity buckets.
Charity buckets.
Okay, so out of 10 charity buckets,
yep. How
would
many
you give to this film?
Yeah, let's see. I think I would give it. I think an 8.
Okay.
8. Because I really think it is quite heartwarming and you really enjoy it. It doesn't have this crazy amount of conflict that is gonna make you stress. You know, it's it's not like you're constantly fearing that these guys are gonna get killed.
Yeah.
Like, you're scared that maybe they're gonna get beat up. Or I think it's like a very wholesome film. I don't know if for me, particularly, it wouldn't be a comfort film for me.
Okay.
Like it's not something that I would want to watch, like all the time.
Okay.
You know, but I think it's a really nice, heartwarming. It talks. I think it's a really nice subject, solidarity.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's cute. Yeah.
Cool.
How about you? How many buckets? Charity buckets?
I would give it 9.
Okay.
Like I said, I think it's just the one major flaw for me is the absence of Mark in the third act. That he just disappears. But other than that, I would agree that it's. I guess some people could level it as a critique that it kind of waters down some issues, I guess.
Okay.
But I think, like I said, I think it's in keeping with the theme, which is like coming together and solidarity, and I think it works that way. So, and I still think it manages to address some of the heavier topics that they talk about. So, yeah, it's a 9 for me.
Good.
So,
do you have some movie titles?
Weirdo movie titles.
Okay, so I have I don't know. Again, I don't know if we already done this one. The Chinese title for American Pie.
I don't think so.
Okay. So I have brought the Chinese or alleged to be Chinese title.
If anyone's from China or speaks Chinese,
Yeah.
let us know if this is accurate, because we all know everything that's on the internet isn't necessarily true.
Exactly. But apparently the Chinese title for American Pie is American Virgin Man.
I guess that's pretty accurate, isn't it?
I guess I haven't seen American Pie, to be honest.
Well, I think I'm not sure if the plot is this group of friends, and they say they're gonna try and lose their virginity before prom or before graduation or something.
Okay. So yeah, I guess it's accurate.
Yeah.
I only know that I think he masturbates into a pie.
Yeah, into an apple pie.
Apple pies.
Yeah.
So the most American of pies.
Where did that come from? I mean,
I don't know. Now I'm hungry, and now
I really want an apple pie.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Not to masturbate to, but to eat. So yeah, American Virgin Man. Pretty. I guess it sounds like it does sound accurate. It sounds like very straightforward, very like Chinese.
Yeah.
American Virgin Man. This is what this film is about. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
Not so much to take out of there, but
no. It's funny, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just trying to decide. I have 2 titles, I guess, that I could go with. One is the German title for Bringing Up Baby, the Catherine Hepburn. Cary Grant.
Knocked Up. I think it's the no.
Bringing Up Baby. It's with the leopard. It's like a 1930s film.
Okay. What did you say, Catherine Hepburn?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know
Cary
why.
Grant.
I don't know why you said Catherine Hepburn.
Yeah.
And I heard Catherine Heigl.
Oh, I see. Knocked Up.
No,
you
so
meant.
I thought Knocked Up, and since you said Bringing Up Baby,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess they have to bring up a baby. I'm not high. I'm
guys,
hungry.
even just the original titles are confusing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a film called Bringing Up Baby.
Yeah.
From I think 1930 or 1931, and in German the title is "You Shouldn't Kiss Leopards." So if you you obviously haven't seen the film. I'm guessing. No, so like the baby is a leopard. Like the leopard is called Baby.
Oh, okay.
And so I can't remember the plot exactly, but at one point, like they're having to take care of this leopard, basically.
Okay. So like in German would be like
you shouldn't kiss leopards.
Like, okay. Du solltest keine
Leoparden küssen, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where the kissing comes from, but I don't think they kiss a leopard ever.
I don't think you would think, oh, I know what I want to do. I want to
kiss a leopard. That's a good idea.
Okay.
And then the second title is again it's Hong Kong.
Okay.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Okay.
And apparently the Hong Kong title was I'm Drunk and You're a Prostitute.
Okay. That sounds a little bit maybe more possible.
Okay. Yeah.
More like
I'm guessing that's the plot.
I haven't seen Living Las Vegas, but I know he's a drunk. And,
yeah.
I mean, it's Las Vegas. They're probably prostitutes, so.
I'm sure there's a prostitute involved somewhere. There'll be some prostitutes. You can't film a film in Las Vegas and not have prostitutes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty straightforward also. Like,
yeah.
I'm drunk, you're a prostitute.
I'm drunk, you're a prostitute.
Business.
Let's do this.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go. So next week we have
Andres's pick.
Andres's pick for his comfort film.
Yep.
And yeah, the end of season 1 is coming.
It's coming close.
But we're still not away. So I mean, we still have a few episodes for you. Yeah. So make sure to keep in tune. Like keep checking our social media. A little bit of pitch _pod. Comment on our pictures, nice things, please. And keep listening to these 2 gals.
Yeah, please. And then we can keep making this stuff.
Yeah, and hopefully make some money out of it.
Who knows? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So
if you guys want to send us money.
Exactly. Share this podcast with everyone.
Please.
And yeah, thank you so much. You'll listen to us next week. I'm Altair.
I'm Hazel.
And bye.
Bye. If you like this episode, why not hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode? And if that's still not enough, you can follow us on Instagram at elevatorpitch_pod to stay up to date with all the latest news.